Made in China. For the last 30 years, when you saw that sticker on a product, it meant cheap, it meant plastic, it meant it was going to break in a week. That is the picture we have in our heads, and that is the mental model we grew up with. But I need you to do something for me. I need you to take that mental picture of China and delete it, because while we were making jokes about cheap knockoffs, something changed. They were building the most advanced and the most efficient system that humanity has ever seen. We are not talking about a factory anymore. We are talking about a technology giant that is disguised as a nation state. So today I want to review China, but I'm not going to review it like a country. I'm going to review China like a tech product. We are going to take a look at the hardware, the roads, the trains, and the cities that make New York City look like a village from the past. We are going to take a look at the software. This is their app ecosystem. It is so advanced that it makes your iPhone feel like a fax machine from the 1990s. And we are going to take a look at the user agreement. You know the long text you skip when you install an app? Well, in China, you cannot skip it. It is the social contract where you trade off your privacy for convenience. And if you break the rules, you get deleted. So, is it a perfect future or is it a nightmare? Let's open the box and find out. We have to talk about the build quality. If you visit cities like Shanghai or Shenzhen or Chongqing today, and then you fly back to maybe London, New York, or Los Angeles, you are going to feel something very uncomfortable. It is called reverse culture shock. Usually, you get a culture shock when you go to a third world country, but this is the opposite. You come back to the West and you look at our subways, our potholes, and our old bridges, and you wonder, why does everything here feel so old? Let's talk about the connectivity specs. In the United States, we have been talking about high-speed rail for 20 years. We have held meetings, we have made plans, but what do we have? Now look at China. They just crossed 50,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. Let me try to explain how big that number is. This is not just enough track to go around the entire Earth. That is enough to go around the entire Earth and then keep going all the way to the moon. And these are not the dirty, loud trains you might be used to. These trains run at 350 kilometers per hour. They are silent, they are smooth, they are on time to the exact second. And then you have to look at the cities. Have you seen the city of Chongqing? If you haven't, you need to Google it. It looks like a video game. It looks like the movie Cyberpunk 2077, but in real life. There are trains going directly through the middle of apartment buildings. There are roads stacked on top of other roads, layer after layer, like a giant plate of spaghetti. They have built more skyscrapers in the last 10 years than America has built in its entire history. Now you have to ask the question, how did they do this? How did a country that was poor just 40 years ago build all of this so fast? What is the processor that is running this system? Well, it is a system called state capitalism. But let's just call it the boss mode. In China, the operating system works differently. The algorithm, that is the government, decides we need a bridge right here, and the bridge is there the next Tuesday. It is like they are playing the video game SimCity, but they have the cheat codes on. They have unlimited money and zero rules to slow them down. But the hardware isn't just concrete and steel anymore. It is silicon. It is technology. For years, the story we told ourselves in the West was simple. We said China is dirty, China is polluting, China burns coal. And that is true. They still burn a lot of coal. But if you look at the updates for 2026, there is a massive change. China has become the green tech monopolist. They have cornered the market. Let's look at the solar panels. They control 80% of the entire global supply chain. If you buy a solar panel anywhere in the world, the parts probably came from China. If we talk about the EV batteries, two Chinese companies, CATL and BYD, basically control the market. And if you take a look at the electric cars itself, they are absolutely crushing the old legacy car brands. Most people in the West have never seen a BYD car, but you will. Think of it this way. Tesla is like the iPhone. It is premium, it is expensive, it is a status symbol. You buy it because it is cool. BYD is like Android. They have a car called Seagull which costs $10,000. It has leather seats, it has a big screen, and it has a decent range. It offers 80% of the features of a Tesla, but for 20% of the price. In the tech world, we call that a flagship killer. And that is the reason the car companies in Europe and America are terrified. The US government is putting 100% tariff on these cars. They are trying to stop them from entering the country because Ford and GM literally cannot build a car that cheap. It is impossible for them. China didn't just catch up to the West on engines. They realized a long time ago that they can never beat Germany at making gas engines. That technology was too old and Germany was too good at it. So China skipped a generation. They bet the entire house on electric and they won the bet. Okay, so the hardware is cool, the trains are fast, the cars are cheap, but the soul of any device is the operating system. And this is where China is truly alien to us. In the West, our app ecosystem is broken up. It is fragmented. Think about your phone right now. You have WhatsApp for texting your friends and family. You have Uber for getting a ride. You have PayPal or Venmo for sending money. You have Instagram for posting photos. You have basically 5 different apps for 5 different things. In China, they have WeChat. And this is not just a messaging app. WeChat is an operating system for your life. Let me walk you through a day in the life of a user in China. You wake up in the morning, you check the news. That is on WeChat. You need to go to work, so you order a taxi. That is on WeChat. You stop for coffee, you pay for it with WeChat Pay. You need to book a doctor's appointment, you do it on WeChat. And this is where things get a bit interesting. And I'm not making this stuff up. But if you want to get a divorce, you can file the papers on WeChat. You get stopped by the police and need to show your ID, you show them your WeChat ID. It is the ultimate super app, and from a user experience perspective, it is amazing. It is seamless. You never have to leave the app. Everything is in one place and it's so convenient. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. Imagine if the FBI, the IRS, the police, and the Google were all the exact same company. And imagine they could see every single thing you did. That is WeChat. Because everything is centralized in one app, the government has root access to your life. They can see who you talk to, they can see where you go, they can see what you buy. And if you say something sensitive in the group chat, maybe you criticize the government or economy, your account gets locked. And when your WeChat gets locked, you don't just lose your text messages. Basically, you lose your digital existence. In the West, if you get banned from Twitter, it's annoying. In China, if you get banned from WeChat, you are bricked. Your life stops working. Now, before we call this the perfect system, we have to look at the storage. Every computer needs a hard drive. And for years, China saved all its economic data on one specific hard drive, the real estate market. In the West, we put our money in the stock market. We buy stocks, we buy 401ks. But in China, people don't trust the stock market. It is like gambling to them. So they put their money in houses. Real estate accounts for nearly 30% of their entire economy. And this is a huge number. People poured their life savings into buying apartments. They bought 2, 3, and sometimes 4 apartments. They bought apartments that weren't even built yet. Now, that drive is corrupted. You might have heard of companies like Evergrande or Country Garden. These are massive real estate development companies, and they just crashed. They ran out of money. And now you have millions of ghost homes. These are skyscrapers that are empty. They are unfinished concrete shells. And it looks like a video game map that failed to load. And the crazy part is people are paying mortgages on apartments that will never be finished. And the government is trying to fix it. But the corruption runs deep. Prices are falling. People are angry. They feel like they were scammed. So in summary, they build too much, too fast for people who don't exist. And that leads us to the biggest fatal flaw in the system, the battery life. Every device runs on a battery, and a country runs on people. For 35 years, China had a rule called one-child policy. The government said you are only allowed to have 1 kid. They did this to slow down the population so they could grow the economy faster. It worked for a while, but now the bill is due. China is aging faster than any society in human history. In 2023, their population started shrinking. Think about that. There are fewer people today in China than there were yesterday. By the year 2050, they might lose hundreds of millions of people. That is a big problem. Who is going to work in the factories? Who is going to buy the houses? And who is going to take care of all the aging people? And look at the new user base, the youth. The young people. Youth unemployment in China is so high that it's hovering over 17%. And that is a massive idle process in the CPU. You have millions of educated young people with college degrees and they have nothing to do. And the ones who do have jobs, they are tired. They are rejecting the hustle culture. There is a new movement in China called Chongqing, and it translates to lying flat. It is basically the Gen Z saying the housing prices are too high, the competition is too strict, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to lie in the bed and do nothing. And this is a major system error. The Communist Party in China knows how to build bridges. They know how to build fast trains, but they do not know how to make people want to have babies. This is the one bug in the operating system that cannot be patched. fast. So what is the verdict? Well, it is the most impressive, complex, and terrifying machine ever built. The build quality is insane. The infrastructure is light years ahead of West. The software ecosystem is seamless. WeChat is incredibly convenient. They are dominating the future of green tech. They have built the best electric cars for the money. But if we take a look at the cons, the storage, that is their housing market, is a disaster. It's corrupted. There is zero privacy. The government has root access to your mind, and the battery is dying. The population is collapsing. If we look at China as a product, would we buy it? Let me know in the comments. Would you use a super app like WeChat if it meant giving up your privacy? Is the convenience worth a risk, or is the freedom to be messy worth it? This has been the China review, and I'll catch you in the next one.